good afternoon, and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International for Wednesday, the 23rd of January 2025. It's program number 1310 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Alex George Jr. Now, of course, in addition to Radio 101.1 FM, you can also get us at our website. It is rcistlucia.com, and we are also streaming live on our Facebook stream or feed. And you just have to search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International on Facebook. Please be sure to like and share that as well with your friends and family. And for today, of course, we want to send out some birthday greetings to two individuals who are celebrating their birthdays on Nobel Laureate Day. And those are Mr. Johan Blanchard. Happy birthday to you, sir. And we do hope that you're having a very blessed birthday, as well as the executive director of the Cultural Development Foundation, Mrs. Ramona Henry Wynn. Happy birthday to you, and we wish you an absolutely wonderful birthday celebration. Of course, as I mentioned, today is Nobel Laureate Day in St. Lucia, and that is because it was the birthdays of our two Nobel Prize winners. Sir William Arthur Lewis was born on January the 23rd, 1915, and Sir Derek Walcott was born on January the 23rd, 1930. And so, of course, we mark this day as Nobel Laureate Day here in St. Lucia. And later on, in fact, there's going to be a lecture, the Sir William Arthur Lewis Memorial Lecture being delivered tonight. Now, some more history for today, Chinese history actually. In the year 1971, War Elephant Corps of the Southern Han was defeated at Shao by crossbow fire from Song Dynasty troops, and that was the first regular War Elephant Corps in the Chinese army. In the year 1368, in a coronation ceremony, Zhu Yangzhang, age 40, ascended to the throne of China as the Hongwu Emperor, initiating Ming Dynasty rule over China that lasted for 3 centuries. Also in China, 1556, Shanxi earthquake occurred on this day, the deadliest ever recorded, with an estimated 830,000 people being killed in Shanxi province in China. 1950 on this day, the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, declared Jerusalem the capital of Israel. 1973 on this day, United States President Richard Nixon announced an accord had been reached to end the Vietnam War. 1978 on this day, Sweden became the first nation in the world to ban aerosol sprays due to their harmful effects on the Earth's ozone layer. And in the year 2020, on this day, China locked down the city of Wuhan and its 9 million people in a belated but ultimately successful effort to control the city's COVID-19 outbreak. We now move on to our dish of the day. The Daily Dish is brought to you the kind compliments of our good friends at Tiles Plus.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. There's all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasware and vanity. Doors, you'll see. Come down to mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bossy Joe Brazilians, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939. Tiles Plus.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to our program here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. And of course, we remember on this day a very important reminder from our Nobel Prize winner for Economic Sciences, Sir William Arthur Lewis, that the fundamental cure to poverty is not money, but knowledge. And that, of course, is very important in terms of development and the importance of realizing that the development of the human being's mind, is in fact the most central act that has to occur in terms of economic development and societal development and progress. And of course, we've been looking around the world, and countries all want the same thing, because people, effectively want the same thing. They want to see improvement in quality of life, in terms of how we spend our time on earth. And of course, this has been the entire human journey for tens of thousands of years, building upon the improvements of those who've gone before. Sometimes these things get passed on, and many times in the past they did not get passed on and were forgotten and had to be relearned over and over. And that has been the challenge of development, and what has certainly been shaping more and more the ability of human beings to be able to progress is that ability to share knowledge, to be able to share information, to be able to teach and impart what has already been learned, and discovered and found over time. And so, of course, this is why institutions and technologies that have assisted that have helped in the growth of humanity, in the promotion of civilization over the very many years. It is no wonder that even when you look at it from the perspective of the popular religions that have spread around the world, in today's setting, many of those religions largely are coming out of a part of the world where the technology of writing, the technology of being able to record things, putting them down in terms of symbols, development of alphabets, those were some of the things that allowed the beginnings of societies that became literate and were able to promote and promulgate their own stories. And so, by a system of continuous back and forth between the great civilizations of the Mesopotamian region and the Nile Valley region and everything in between, that quote unquote fertile crescent, you then saw coming out of that lots of exchange, lots of knowledge, lots of ideas being shared, and then of course the ability now to be able to propagate these things by way of writing. And we sometimes take these things so very much for granted, but it was a major revolution in terms of the ability to communicate and the ability to teach, the ability to impart knowledge and information. And that, of course, is within our new context being realized through the information and communications technologies revolution, which we are continuing to see roll on before our very eyes. And of course, if you go back in time again, the inventing of the printing press, the Gutenberg press was a major shift now again, because before everything had to be handwritten, everything had to be copied, and copies of copies of copies of copies of copies. And so when you now had the ability to actually mass produce documents and books and whatever you wanted to be able to promote, whether it was propaganda to some degree, everything is a form of propaganda, but and knowledge sharing, that of course was a major game changer. And now we're in this other era, of course, thanks to telecommunications, perhaps first the wonders of radio, and then later on television, and then even later on the advent of, well, of course, telegraph telephone, and now, of course, with the internet, and how that is in fact impacting every single aspect of how we survive. So not only are we talking to each other, but everything is talking to each other. That whole concept of the Internet of Things is changing the way people live. And of course, within the new mix, we've seen lots of new platforms for expression and sharing coming on board, that of social media. And no surprise that some of the richest people in the world own these platforms, right? And so when we look at what is now known as Meta, Facebook, and many of these other Instagram, and a lot of the others, of course, now we've seen the entrance of Mr. Musk wanting to own what was then Twitter, and which is now X. And of course, the concerns over who owns these technologies, because of course, those two gentlemen are U.S. nationals, but a gentleman from China, who also I think has perhaps nationality from Singapore or wherever else too, but he's seen as Chinese, ethnic Chinese, born in China, and he owns TikTok, which of course as well has become one of these vastly popular social media platforms, and it therefore has created this opportunity for pretty much anybody to begin to share their own stories and their own experiences. And it has become, some may even say, to the point, maybe an addiction for many individuals. They've got to be posting all the time. They've got to be on it all the time, spending lots and lots of hours of screen time glued to their devices. And that is really where the world is finding itself tremendously in terms of these popular forms of information sharing. And so even the traditional entities which want to now promote their own systems of information and knowledge and whatnot, so everybody has to be on those systems, whether you are a media platform, a traditional media platform, whether you are a magazine, a newspaper. That's where you're at now. You might be a government, you might be an international agency, a United Nations agency, you may be a university. You know, all of these institutions are, of course, gluing in to these very same platforms, because this is now one of the major ways that people, in fact, communicate around the world. And of course, we have to be wary that in this age that we live in, one of the difficulties that we face is to, in fact, know that who are we really interacting with? Who are we speaking to? Are we being gaslighted? Are we interacting with a bot? Something that is effectively a computer algorithm, a program. You know, who are we really interacting with? And of course, quite often, whether we like it or not, the way these platforms are designed quite often, to some degree, locks you in towards a certain trend. So whatever is trending at the time may pop up on your screen, or whatever you are searching for, run the algorithm. Okay, you know, if you like, you know, fast cars, they'll be showing you lots of pictures and video of McLarens and Audis and whatever the case may be, and so that builds into this whole idea of feeding you into a particular direction. Of course, these can effectively become proverbial rabbit holes. But of course, another major challenge that exists, of course, is the identity theft. Now, that's becoming a huge problem. And more, we are seeing the rise in today's world as more individuals are interacting with these platforms that people are, in fact, stealing other people's identities. And of course, quite often, this is not just for sport. There is some desire to use your identity now to be able to access something for financial gain, whether it may be your credit card information, whether it may be your bank account information. Those things, of course, are now the door openers for individuals to become to be keyed in to your life. Now, it is certainly a trend that I know is already impacting lots of people in St. Lucia. And of course, one of the most popular platforms available is WhatsApp, right? And WhatsApp is great, right? Isn't it? Because you can, in fact, make free calls, you can interact and message, you can video call, you can do all these wonderful things that people want to be able to do to keep in touch with their friends, loved ones, their various social groupings that they may be in. So we can see, of course, the great benefits from these platforms, right? There's no doubt about that. But of course, there is also a rising tendency now for individuals to be able to try to gain access to your own WhatsApp information. And it is usually very, very, again, these people are very aware of that there may be certain demographics that they may very want to target. So, especially perhaps if you are a mature senior citizen, they may very well figure that your ability to interact may be of being a relatively recent user of things like WhatsApp. They may figure that you are not so okuwa with how the technology actually works, and so therefore you can become targeted. In fact, just recently, I noticed there was a particular message going around of an individual who was pointing out that he got a call, and it was somebody purporting to be from a church which he, I suppose, is connected with in some way. And this individual said that, hey, we're going to have a Zoom meeting tonight, and we will send you a number, and you got to read out that number to us, right? And you're going to get the number on your phone. Now, of course, what they are immediately, if you know Zoom, you know that Zoom doesn't quite work that way. You would normally have somebody send you a link, and that link has pretty much all the information that you need. But what they're doing, of course, is trying to access your WhatsApp. So they've got your number, they know that, and so therefore they've sent a request to effectively get your number on their phone, right? And so therefore to access your WhatsApp. And so by you sending them this number, which is going to be sent via WhatsApp, if you're reading it out to somebody else, you're effectively giving them the code to be able to now access your WhatsApp. But unfortunately, this sort of trick is working for on a number of individuals. And so again, this is where the importance of digital literacy, the importance of awareness that there are elements out there who may very well be trying to be less than good towards you, all right, are problematic. And of course, so this varies, and it's interesting because this individual was relating a method which I know somebody else, maybe about a month or two ago, had gone through that very same type of situation. Hey, I'm calling from this church, and we're going to have a Zoom meeting. So clearly, this is the method that they're using. They're targeting certain groups. They're targeting people who they believe probably may not know better enough, and so what they will then, of course, begin doing is going through your contacts, and they will now begin making pleas um, to your various contacts for some sort of money. You're in a jam. They'll say that you need assistance and whatnot, and of course, invariably, I don't think it tends to work. But who knows how many people have been certainly scammed out of just that. So certainly those matters are some of the pitfalls with respect to this hypercharged world that we live in right now, where people are so interconnected. So basically, somebody you may be here in St. Lucia, and there's somebody over in California, or there's somebody over in Abu Dhabi or in India, wherever around the world, who is trying to get your contact information, is trying to get access to your accounts, and so we've got to be very wary of this. And of course, this matter, which could perhaps be broadly termed cybersecurity, is something that we all have to be thinking of. So at the personal level, certainly it's a major issue, but also businesses, companies, institutions. That all is certainly pretty important. Interestingly, quite recently, I heard the head of the St. Lucia National Archives Authority making the point that there was a time when there was a particular group, a religious group, was going around the Caribbean, effectively trying to collect information on individuals' births and records and that sort of thing, the civil status records, effectively. And she made the point that whereas a number of other countries in the Caribbean agreed to let these individuals come in on the basis that they were in fact just going to be scanning these records and they would have passed them on back to you, they also, of course, kept the records for themselves. And she made the point that they then went on to, in fact, sell those records for quite a pretty penny to institutions outside, well, institutions that were involved in providing genealogy services. So your ancestry.com type programs, genie.com, all of those really require you to be able to, the idea is that you can go online and you can search for information about your family, your heritage. Now, of course, this is something that is quite useful and quite good because individuals knowing more about their roots, their how far back you can trace their generations, that's all great stuff. All right, but she was pointing out, of course, that the way it was done, somewhat surreptitiously, or they went through it, got the information, didn't provide anything, didn't give anything really back besides saying, hey, well, here's a copy of the information now that it's been digitized. But they then went on to, in fact, sell that information to agencies, to companies that were now wanted to actually acquire them. And of course, there was no benefit to the source countries, the institutions that in fact had the legal rights to that information. So it's just one example of many situations where information is certainly pretty vital, and how that information is shared, how it is put forward, is now a major challenge around the world. I think it is one of the things that we're seeing becoming a lot more prevalent. The whole thrust towards putting everything on the cloud. What that effectively means is that you're putting something into multiple, really, data centers around the world, right? And these data centers have owners, right? These data centers invariably may very well come under control of some level of authority and at some point. And this is where the risk is, because when you're seeing so very openly now intra-country warfare or global jostling for control over entities, right? The whole argument that the United States has is that any Chinese company can very well end up becoming, taken over, or they can, under the influence, they are subject to the control and authority of the Chinese government, the Chinese state, and so basically matters of confidentiality may not be respected when individuals get to the point where there's war on, right? And those are big questions, because we've seen, of course, that, you have these entities, these companies out there, and these companies are theoretically private entities providing data services, holding your information and whatnot. But what about the trends that we are now seeing? So when many of these very same companies are now jostling for influence on the steps of the White House, right? Or is that similar and akin to perhaps exactly what is being accused of by the Chinese state in terms of control? So these are interesting times, and certainly countries around the world will have to think about how effective and how strong the institutions of state are, and how well the checks and balances within these institutions of state exist, because you are finding this sort of convergence now. Some people are terming it the rise of the oligarchs. Of course, in the case of Russia, we've seen it in the past, and now are we seeing a similar type of situation unfolding in the case of the United States of America? And so much of it is tied to the matter of control of knowledge, control of information. And so certainly when we think about the message of Sir William Arthur Lewis on this day, there is certainly a lot to consider, given the information age and all that comes with it, artificial intelligence and what have you. It is certainly a very, very interesting time to live. That's our dish of the day. And when we come back, we will take in our weather report and then take in some calls.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. This all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasware and vanity. Books, doors, you'll see. Come down to mine, nobody, we got the best as an island. Trust me, we are located Land Street in Castries, Bossiju, Brazilians, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939.
Island style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island style, whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style, oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island style.
We have tiles and insets, pieces and ground. Everything you need is on the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Bellarosa, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Castries, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewport Highway. Or call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style, Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
So the course of the 1.1 is now time for your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talamba. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. The winds will be blowing from the east and near 25 miles per hour or 41 kilometers per hour with occasional gusts. The weather partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy with a light to moderate showers. And there is an advisory in here which reads that small craft operators and sea beavers are advised to exercise caution due to brisk winds and rough seas. The forecast for the Lesser Antilles over the central to southern Windward Islands, partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy with scattered showers. Elsewhere, generally fair. And the weather summary: moderate to brisk easterly winds and locally rough seas are expected to continue over and around the Eastern Caribbean region during the next few days. Weak and stable conditions associated with shear line will produce cloudiness with showers over the central to southern Windward Islands during the forecast period. And this was the weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talamba.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Island Style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island Style, whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island Style, oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island Style.
We have tiles and insets, pieces and ground. Everything you need is on the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Bellarosa, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Castries, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewport Highway. Or call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style, Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And of course, we've got about 21 minutes to go before the hour of 2 o'clock. The number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046, as well as our WhatsApp, 724-0008. We're going to go to the phone lines.
Hello.
At this time, good afternoon, caller. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hi, caller. Are you hearing us?
Yeah, you're very, very fit.
Oh, I'm not sure why that's the case.
I hear you.
We're on full volume, as far as I know. But go right ahead, caller, with your contribution.
Pardon me?
Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Right, I hear you a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. I sit down there listening to you, and I just imagine in the 50s and 60s when people used to work as copy typists, and to
Yes.
see the amount of people sit down in our office
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and today with AI and those things, new modern gadget, most office look empty, even some warehouse looking empty. Where are the people gone?
Yeah, even in like places like New York City, for example, you think, okay, New York
Yeah.
City is a great and a bustling place, a
Yeah,
high demand place,
I just
and they're
thinking of
saying
that,
that I think
and the
almost
telephone
50.
as well, because I remember over Oldham around Berry, next to the Metropolitan Police Station, and the whole side of the street was building, and all these buildings just full of people answering the phone.
Yeah. In fact, as the point I was making was that in New York City, I think they're saying like nearly 15% of office
I have a
space.
bad line. I think I'll finish there
Oh, okay.
until tomorrow.
All right then,
But
Colin. Thanks very much for your
all right,
contribution.
bye.
But yeah, especially since COVID 19 and this shift towards working from home, lots of people have in fact don't have to go to the office anymore, and you're finding that vacancies in office space have increased considerably. So you're seeing, I think, as I was saying, about 15% of the office space is vacant. That number may very well continue to increase. And so what the trend is now is a lot of it is they're seeing how to perhaps um, repurpose some of these offices for housing accommodation and what have you. Those that, of course, that are suitable for retrofitting. So those trends are significant trends. Yeah, and there was a time when many jobs were tied towards those types of activities. You would have had to have had a typist or somebody to copy notes, or um, even today now, you meetings have AIs that effectively create your meeting notes for you. So your minutes are generated, and of course, perhaps nothing's perfect, and it'll take time to get there, and still need somebody to go over and make sure everything is correct. Yes, but it certainly does save a lot of time, and there's a big thrust right now towards how to become more efficient and effective through the use of artificial intelligence. So of course, some of these things are controversial for some, but the reality is that the world is shifting towards making a lot of things that we thought used to take quite a long time become pretty easy to be able to generate. And this is across so many different fields, right? Even in the legal field, for example, right now, there are AI platforms that assist with, you're searching for case law and on certain matters and writing opinions. It can now be potentially generated using AI. So there's a lot of interesting shifts that are occurring that are making things, allowing people to be more efficient, more productive, hopefully, maybe even meaning that they have more time on their hands to be able to enjoy the world and enjoy the world by maybe traveling more, that sort of thing. So it's good and bad, and lots of people are concerned, of course, that that even the jobs that we have now, many are going to be impacted by just that. But there are certainly clear shifts that are happening, that will continue to happen, and that is just the reality that we find ourselves in. Um, right now, I mean, although we have not gone to that point yet, but what's going to happen 20 years down the road or 30 years down the road when we start seeing autonomous vehicles coming on stream? Now, it's already a reality for some systems. You've got trains that run autonomously. You've got systems in some cities in China that are already running autonomous buses and what have you. So invariably, you're going to find that even the need for drivers, is that going to shift? How that is going to operate is changing. I mean, so these are certainly disruptors that, and we see them as disruptors, quote unquote, but they certainly are major changes to how business is done and what kind of jobs can exist. And that's just the name of the game. And so if you're not keeping up with it, then you can certainly be left behind. I mean, we've seen many companies face that type of situation. And I'm sure you may have seen this a certain clip looking at the companies that didn't realize that they had to make a change. Kodak, for example, very famously, the leader in terms of production of film and even cameras. And I mean, it was what you really depended on, whether it was even a disposable cameras that they had as well, and there was that whole time. And this was, even around, say, the year 2000s, the early 2000s, you had that being there. And then they were, in fact, developed the first digital camera, but were not able to continue
Good morning.
to make
Good
that shift.
afternoon, sir. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
Well, season greetings. I'm not, when you are Muslim, the wages, Trump have me under attack. So I was hiding to see, well, if I will survive, you understand?
Well, I hope you're surviving.
Well, it does not look, the way what you have been saying that to me, you're telling me it's better I go and live in Russia,
Russia? Why would
it looks like it might be an easier deal to live in Russia. I call you because we have a little problem in the sector, the taxi sector there, that is very troublesome to the drivers, which I think I would like you to just give me 5 minutes of your time. Let me say it to you.
Sure, go right ahead.
The drivers, right? What happened there when the regulations of the taxi sector from H to TX, it was done on the Philip J. Pierre and Bernie Sarambali. Mm-hmm. Now, what they did after the regulations, they said if you want a new vehicle, you get 100% concession. If it's an older vehicle, you get 70%. Now, this thing, we had a TTRC, but they put a TTRC in place. That is to regulate the sector. The people representing the insurance council, the National Taxi Union, the Transport Board, the Ministry of Tourism as chairman, the SLHTA, they form a committee so that we will to guide this process so that it will be a process that everybody should be happy with.
Okay.
The last administration, when they came in, they destroyed it. They throw it away. So right now there is no TTRC. So as this administration come in, they put one man to run this thing. It is called a guy called Timothy and the deputy PS of tourism. What they have done, it is that the two of them is the one looking at all application forms, all applications. They bring in 600-700 new drivers into the system. Only the two of them that was choosing from the applications. Nobody does not know what is the requirement and what needs to be done, but that is what was done. 1. 2. The guys right now, there was something we had done before. When the guy he died in his car at ZG. We were looking at the vehicles to see do they meet the requirement to be a tourism taxi service. Mm-hmm. But what we were looking for is leg space, whether they had the camera, whether they had a fire extinguisher, everything. Mm-hmm. But when we went to the AG's office, the AG told us that we does not meet the qualifications and the requirement to do so. So what we had to do, we had to choose about 3 or 4 garages, 2 in the south and 3 in the north. So when a driver is going and renew his license, so these drivers have to go there and when they have to meet the requirements through these garages for them to give them everything they need. Right now there, as it speaks, the Ministry of Tourism re-implement this thing, and the guys that is doing that don't know nothing of what they're doing. They're wasting people's time. The second thing that is more troublesome is that if you are in Viewfort, and first thing they tried to do, saying that right now there, if you have a peg in Viewfort, you cannot have a peg in Castries. Where you have the peg, that is, you have to choose where you want to stay. Now, I raised the issue with them, and I told them the law of St. Lucia, the Constitution of St. Lucia, make allowance for you to have multiple pegs if you want to. So we cannot go beyond that. Then they decided to rest on that. Then they came in with another thing. They said that if you have a plate, when you die with the plate. So if you have children that have age, you cannot give them that plate. Mm-hmm. The ministry takes that over. Then they come back with something after 3 months. When you sell a vehicle, you don't come and let them know, then you're liable to lose the plate. Then another thing again they come in with. There was the past president of Holiday Taxi. He was my assistant president. He had 67699, something like this. He had that plate for about 25 years. Right now the man died. They took the man plate and give his wife another plate, another number. At the present moment, as we speak, when you go and pay your insurance after you have done all your evaluation, you have done all your inspection, you have to go to the Ministry of Tourism. The Ministry of Tourism have to say, yes, you're okay, you are right. Then after 5 or 4 days, then they will send a memo or something to the Ministry of Transport, and then you can get the go ahead to get the sticker. Right now, the police is starting to charge the taxi drivers one after the other, because sometimes a whole week you cannot get the Ministry of Tourism to act for you to get your sticker. But this is illegal 100%, because anything to do with transport, the only ministry that have the power to regulate and do anything to transport is the Ministry of Transport. Now they're saying to the drivers that, okay, they are talking about we're trying to remove H plates on the road. There is a guy from Clopton, from Royalton. He brought down about 6 vehicles. They give them 6 plates. There is only usual things happening in the sector. Now, I know I do not want to be the bad one, because I don't want to react, but I want the people of St. Lucia to know exactly what is happening there. It is not right at all. And these guys there yesterday, the guys went and talked to them, and all what they're saying is that, oh, they are doing this for things to be better. The man who is regulating the sector has never sat down in any taxi stand and for him to hear somebody say taxi to taxi. He knows nothing about taxi. But what is amazing me, what I'm amazed about, it is the deputy CS of tourism. I don't know if there's a love going on there. I don't know what is going on there. But everything this guy do, she is supporting the guy to destroy the drivers. I mean, my partner, I'm telling you, anytime these days I keep very quiet. I'm not saying much. But I think now I will start to make noise, and I'll have to go to the PM with that. Because this thing there is uncalled for. It is wasting time. A man that is in Viewport, pay his license, pay his insurance. He have to come to Castries for you to look at his vehicle. But what right, what privilege, what power, under what constitution this thing happening? I don't know, my partner. So I thank you for your patient hearing, but I believe a man like you should know about that. So you can do some investigation if you want to.
Well, thanks for
But
sharing. I didn't realize. So you said that they're now 600 new
there are now about
license.
600 to 700 new plates into the system. And you know what really happened again? What really happened again is that the past board of the tourist board went. I mean, the term limit come to an end. I think within this time there another 10 or 15 plates of more than 30 plates was given to people friends. Now, by right, the board have to ratify anything that happens from the Ministry of Tourism. The Ministry of Tourism set policy. They will set policies and send to they will set policies for tourism. They send it to the board. The board either refuse or accept. The Ministry of Tourism have no due restriction whatsoever on transport. Their job is tourism. But right now, the man I'm talking about, Mr. Timothy, have the power to say what plate to give at the Ministry of Transport. I mean, the Ministry of Transport is either, and he said that to me. He said to me, it's because of the Ministry of Transport is doing something because they don't know what they're doing. Now, I am saying to you, this cannot continue. The drivers are being charged by the police on a day-to-day basis now. The police say there are too many drivers when they stop them. They have no decal on their windscreen. For you to get a decal, it has to be approved by the Ministry of Tourism. Rubbish. That is not in law. That is nowhere in law. But it continues for about 2 or 3 months. Now I'll take a break. But now, I mean, I will have to come back and see what I can do with this nonsense. Because this is not law. It should never happen. We should not allow that to happen. And that's why we have to have immediate stop on that. Because only the Ministry of Transport that can put mechanisms in place to look at people's vehicles and to know if they meet the standard. There was a requirement already. We had already choose garages. We had choose these garages. That's where when your license ends, that's where you have to go. That's where you have to go and do your inspection. And if you meet the requirements, then they write and they send to transport to the Ministry of Transport where you get your decal. But everything changed now. The Ministry of Tourism is the one that is running the tourism taxi transport entirely. Whatever they want, they want. A man bringing about 6 or 8 vehicles from Royalton. Mr. Timothy have the power to give him about 6 or 8 H plate when another driver cannot get an H plate. You think that is right? You think this thing is right?
Well, I think
that can't be right.
You definitely probably have to take it up.
I will take it up.
At the ministerial level, perhaps with the Minister for Infrastructure.
Show is a well-respected show on the show. I don't want to go on any all shows to talk. But I am telling you, this thing that cannot be right. And I will start going on different shows. I want to have an audience on different shows where people call me and things like that, because this thing there, we need to stop it. It cannot continue again. It cannot continue.
Thanks very much for sharing, caller, and have a good one. And of course, that was a pretty lengthy call about the state of affairs in respect of the taxi sector. Of course, pretty important sector when it comes to tours and shifting between airports and hotels, and of course it's a major income earner for a lot of St. Lucians. So we do certainly hope that there is some resolution regarding some of the matters that he was raising. Of course, we can't clarify them because I don't really know any of the details per se, but let's hope that relevant authorities can look at that accordingly. We're pretty much out of time already here for our program. Of course, just a reminder that this evening there is that Sir William Arthur Lewis memorial lecture as part of the Nobel Laureate Festival that is being put on by the South Lewis Community College. It is not at the South Lewis Community College. It is happening this evening over at the Finance Administrative Center from 7:30. It is Mr. Clarence Henry that is going to be giving that. Dr. Clarence Henry Clarence is an economist, St. Lucian, and he is in fact going to be speaking on economic prosperity in the new age. What are the prescriptions for growth and development for small island developing states? Some global lessons. And that's on from 7:30 this evening at the Finance Administrative Center. If you can't make it in person, you can also check it out on GIS's and as well NTN, Facebook, YouTube, what have you. There was actually supposed to be a lecture earlier on hosted by the Swedish consulate on becoming a successful entrepreneur and innovator. That was by Mr. Eric Dulerud. That was this morning. And there's also musical tribute that was supposed to have happened as well at the Castries City Hall. And as well, I think there's going to be an ongoing exhibition at the City Hall being put on by the St. Lucia Archives. They've got an exhibition on there which you can also check out. So lots to take in with respect to the events of the Nobel Laureate Festival. Of course, as I said, today is Nobel Laureate Day here in St. Lucia. So hope it's a good day for everyone out there. And of course, a good time to remember the contributions of Sir William Arthur Lewis and Sir Derek Walcott, certainly placing St. Lucia on the map in terms of awareness, in terms of their contributions, what they did in their respective fields of the economic sciences, development economics, as well as in literature. That's our program for today. Hope you can join us tomorrow, God willing, for another one. I'm your host, Alex George Jr., saying goodbye.